Greetings to everyone. Today I want to talk about the United States and the transits that we are in as a country as we approach this very important election coming up on November 3rd. I do not want to be predicting the outcome of that election. Those of you who know me and my work well know that I don't view astrology as predictive or deterministic. For me, the gift of astrology is it gives us a sense of the energies of who we are, of what we've come here to learn, our intentions for our own soul's evolution and growth, and how the energies of the planets in any given period of time are guiding us in how we can grow and heal and evolve. I believe the same is true for us as a global community, but also each country has its own birth chart and its own unique energy and nature and character. And as a country, we in the United States have a chart that is giving us input on who we are and what we've come to work through in our process as a collective community on this planet in this time. Let me talk a little bit about the chart of the United States and then about the transits that are impacting us in this time. The United States chart shows that we have our sun in Cancer and actually a stellium of the sun and 3 other planets in the sign of Cancer, including Jupiter, Mercury, and Venus. This reflects how we in the United States often experience ourselves as caring and giving. We have our moon in Aquarius in the 3rd house, an indication of having high ideals. We have Mars in the 7th house in Gemini, squaring Neptune, an indication that our actions don't always align with our ideals or our sense of ourselves as compassionate and benevolent. Mars is also an aspect to Chiron. Chiron is close to the root of the chart in the 4th house. The origins of this country began with genocide, wounding of others. Genocide and slavery were the foundation that we built this country on. Those are some of the wounds that we carry in our identity as a country. And it's that wound, that way that we can be wounding, that we may not always fully let ourselves be conscious of. In the chart, Pluto is in the 2nd house in Capricorn, and the lunar nodes are South Node in Aquarius in the 2nd, North Node in Leo in the 8th. What does this mean? From an evolutionary astrology perspective, we've come in, Pluto and Capricorn, with an orientation for power. We're driven to succeed in the world. We thrive on having that sense of success and this identity of ourselves as superior. And we value having security and financial resources. But the growing edge, 8th house, we are called to do our deeper work, to look at who we are, to deal with what we've pushed into the shadow or kept in our unconscious identity as a nation, and to really look at how we actually live out those ideals that we say we have as a country in our lives. Or is there a split between our ideals and our actions and who we really are at a deeper level? As we're in this time with this profound election coming up in November, on November 3rd, what are the transits that have been at work on the United States? A few transits are very noteworthy. Let me mention a few of the most important transits that we have been experiencing in this past year in this country. Chiron has been at the root of the chart of the United States since March 2019 through the beginning of 2020. Uranus has been squaring the lunar nodes, ironically, since July 4th, 2019, and it will continue until January 2021. What does this mean? It means that in the last few years, the United States has been, with the influence of these planetary energies, guided to do our deeper healing work. This means to face the way in which, instead of being compassionate to others, we have been the ones who have caused wounds. In how we treated the Native Americans who lived here before us, how we treated those that we brought from Africa to enslave, and how that's still embedded in the undercurrent of racism that is still rampant in this country. And it plays out in how we treat immigrants, how we interact with each other, and those that we perceive as different from us. The founding ideals of this country were about equality and about coming together in unity with each other, and then being a presence for compassion and healing in the world. But we are being called to face that shadow side of who we are and the ways that we don't live up to those ideals. And if we don't do that deeper healing work and face these shadow aspects of ourselves, then we will be caught in continually enacting them in ways that are destructive to each other, to the world, and to our very democracy. This is the shadow side of the United States. And it's been brought into our consciousness in order to heal, not to become mired in that way of being, but to heal and transform. Uranus squaring the lunar nodes is a call to have clarity about who we are, and it's a call to look at what our ideals are and to do that inner work, 8th house. Do that emotional work around who we are and the reality of our history, and to go through that process of facing our shadow and healing and transforming. This is the call for us in this country. And if we don't do that deeper work, we will operate from a place of reactivity and illusion and act out these unconscious issues, these shadow aspects of ourselves in ways that are profoundly wounding to others and destructive to ourselves and to our democracy and to those very ideals that we say the country is founded on. I have no desire to try to predict the outcome of this election because it's up to us and the choices that we make in this country. It's based on whether we will choose to face ourselves and to act from a place of consciousness as we make our choices this fall. Whatever leader we have in this country reflects who we are as a nation. That person may continue to influence and push us in a particular direction, but ultimately who we choose is a reflection of ourselves. And we need to see that and work with that and listen to how these transits are calling us to face that shadow side of ourselves and to heal and to transform. I have looked at how Trump and his chart and his energies interface with those of the United States, and I have looked at Biden's chart and how his intersects with the energies of this country. Interestingly enough, when you look at the interaction between Trump's chart and that of the United States, the primary energy that gets activated over and over again is Mars. Trump's Sun and Uranus are conjunct Mars in the United States chart. His moon is opposite Mars. His Mars is opposite the moon in the chart of the United States. Mars. So his being in this position of leadership is a profound activation of that Mars energy in this country. How are we acting? How are we interacting with other people? What choices do we make? And are we working to have our actions in alignment with our ideals? Or are we operating from a place of illusion and delusion and destruction of ourselves and others? This is what's getting activated in that interaction between Trump and the country. When you look at Biden's chart and the chart of the United States, the significant interactions are his Saturn is on the descendant, calling us to reflect on who we are and how we interact with others. And Chiron in his chart is opposite our moon, an opportunity to heal. Both men have their own personality issues, their own dynamics, but it is significant to see how their energies intersect with the energies of the country and activate certain aspects of who we are as a nation. How this will all unfold is our choice. And if we are dealing with the energies of this time in a conscious way, these transits are saying it is a time for clarity. It is a time to cut through illusion and see the truth and face our shadow. Look at the ways that we have founded this country from a place of being traumatizing to others, and how that is coming up to the surface now in ways that we are being traumatizing to each other, to immigrants, to people from other countries. It is being brought to our awareness for us to deal with it in a very clear way and do that deeper healing work that we need to do as a nation to transform and genuinely live out those ideals of equality and of compassion for others that we say is the essence of who we are as a nation. May we listen to the guidance of the stars and planets as they are helping us to move through this time and become more conscious and heal and evolve and move more fully into those energies of the Aquarian age that are about equality, mutual respect, compassion for each other, justice, truth, and balance with each other, with the earth, with all that is. Blessed be.